Hello, this is What the Faux Travel Podcast, Series 2, Episode 8. We're talking about Iceland with Beckii Lovelock.
What's going on, guys? Welcome again to another episode of What the Faux Travel Podcast. We're joined by our mate and travel invalid, Beckii Lovelock. Hi, Beckii.
Hey guys, you okay?
Invalid was a bit too harsh, wasn't it?
Ah, that's right, I'll take it, I am.
I said that because before we started recording, we were talking about places you like to go. So tell the listeners kind of your travel experience. Where have you been?
I love Spain. Spain is so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anywhere else?
I went to France once,
Right.
and then obviously been to Iceland.
Obviously, because that is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so before we get started, I'm just going to tell you what's coming up on the show. So we're going to be obviously testing Beckii on the Capitals game, which I cannot wait for because I just don't know how that's going to go down. We've got game show facts as usual and language lessons with Amy. We're going to be, of course, playing you some interviews with some locals that we met, telling you loads of crazy facts, and we're going to be playing a game at the end, which is called Geyser or Geyser. Get it?
Yes.
So geezers, geezers, and gazers. Gazers, is that how they call them?
Yeah, Geyser?
Geysers.
Geisha.
Geyser.
You know the bit of water that goes...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
So
know that.
geezer or geezer. So that's our game later. But Nick, can you tell us our shout-outs for this month?
Okay, yeah, this month's shout-outs go to Lorraine O'Donnell. I think I was actually supposed to mention her on the last episode, so sorry, Lorraine, you've been waiting a while. But she got in touch on Instagram. She said she's currently travelling China and has been listening to Series 1 on long train journeys. Great show. So thank you so much. Yeah, we're glad that it made your journey go better in China. And also, Carrie De Phillips emailed us. She got in touch to say she's quickly becoming a big fan of the show. She said the show is fun with loads of useful travel info and she loves the banter between us.
Banter.
Carrie is actually one half of the Workationing podcast. Her and her friend travelling and working around the world so they can keep on the go the whole time. Really cool idea for a podcast if you guys want to check that out.
Okay, so Beckii, we're going to go straight in.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Capitals game?
I knew I should have done some research. I had a feeling, you know what, I had a feeling that people would bring up Capitals.
Yeah. But
That's
you'll
all
be
right.
fine, you'll be fine. Because, well, if we think back, we have got some people that have only got one. And I've seen the list. I reckon you'll get at least two.
Oh no, what countries are these? Will I even know they're the countries?
No, you will definitely get two because actually, before we started recording, you've already mentioned these
Yes.
two places. So you've definitely got two.
Okay,
It's
cool.
almost like she sneakily saw the list.
I did not
Was
see
it
the
in the
list.
back of the car? Did you see it?
I didn't even know, I promise.
If you haven't heard the Capitals game before, it's pretty simple. I'm going to give you a country and you need to give me the capital city of that country, okay?
Yeah.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
go. Okay, so Mexico,
Cancun,
France,
Paris,
Croatia,
pass.
Czech Republic,
Didn't know that was a country. No, I'm joking, I did, but I don't know it.
Indonesia,
No idea.
Spain,
Oh, Madrid.
Chile, Japan,
Hong Kong.
Greece,
Rhodes.
Iran.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
How'd I get
time
on?
is up. Nick, how did she get on?
Well, I quite enjoy the fact that you kind of made up a new place. Huangkong.
Hong Kong.
You, as I predicted, you got two right.
Oh, what?
No, this is pretty good. That means you're not the lowest.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not the highest. I thought I got like 3 then.
So let's go through them.
Okay.
So the first one was Mexico. You said Cancun. It's Mexico City. Then France, Paris, Croatia, Zagreb, Czech Republic. You didn't know was a country. Prague. You've heard of Prague before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've heard of Prague.
There you go. That's the capital of the Czech Republic. Indonesia, Jakarta. That's quite tough. Spain, Madrid. You got it. I thought for a
Yes.
second you might say Barcelona, but you got Madrid.
Yeah.
Chile, Santiago. Japan, Tokyo.
Oh, Tokyo.
You knew that.
Do you remember that song?
Na,
Na,
na.
It's a Tokyo. There you go.
I don't.
Far East Movement. I think it was them, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
Greece, Athens. You didn't get that.
Oh.
Iran, Tehran. That's difficult. And that was as far as you got. You got 2 out of 10. Seriously, by far, like not the worst we've had.
Be proud of yourself.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, right. So, Nick, we need our game show facts about Iceland.
So, Beckii, introduce that music.
Hit the beat, motherfuckers.
Iceland, aka the land of fire and ice, a sparsely populated North Atlantic island. The name Iceland comes from a Norwegian explorer called Frokki. He discovered Iceland and thought it was nice. Winter came along, he thought this isn't nice at all, went home, told everyone don't go there, it's horrible, let's call it Iceland. Iceland is famous for hot springs, geysers and active volcanoes. Lava fields cover much of the land and hot water is pumped from under the ground to supply much of the country's heating. The population is around 300,000. The capital city is Reykjavik and 60% of the population live here. The language is Icelandic and the currency is the Icelandic krona. Iceland used to be part of Denmark but gained independence after World War I on the 1st of December 1918. However, Iceland shared the Danish monarchy until World War II. Although Iceland was neutral in the Second World War, the United Kingdom peacefully occupied it in 1940 to prevent a Nazi occupation. The majority of Icelanders believe in elves. There are no forests in Iceland. Beer remained illegal in Iceland until 1989. Iceland had the first democratically elected female and openly gay prime minister. Roughly 85% of Iceland's energy is from renewable sources. Iceland does not have any army, navy or air force. There aren't any McDonald's restaurants anywhere in Iceland. The Icelandic police don't carry guns. Crime in Iceland is very low and violent crime is practically non-existent. There is a penis museum in Reykjavik. It contains a collection of penises from over 200 different mammals, including one from a man.
Love the last fact there.
That was really interesting. Them facts were class. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know this.
Any particular favourites, apart from Amy's obviously going to say the penis museum?
The violence.
You looked pretty livid about the McDonald's one.
Oh, I was fucking fuming.
But yeah, there were some good ones there. I think that shows why, I'm going to tell you guys a bit later, why I think Iceland's quite a quirky, unique place.
It is. I mean, I'm not surprised about the McDonald's thing, actually, because, and we will go into it later. Well, basically, from a social media standpoint, we've said online that out of me and Nick, one of us hates Iceland and one of us loves it. Well, not loves it, actually, kind of likes it. But let's just say right off, I'm obviously the one that hates it, because I'm just like the depressing one. But yeah, I'm not surprised about McDonald's because the food there doesn't work for me. There's no good food. What did you think?
Shocking.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Honestly, like, then the price and stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's a big thing. When a country is expensive, it's a big kind of down point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Are we recording? I didn't know that. Sorry, I was being so bland. Sorry, I'll carry on. So I was like, yeah.
Is that a compliment to our interviewing skills? It just feels so natural.
Yeah, I was
here.
like, I thought you were just chatting. So then I thought, hold on, like Nick's moving into the mic. I was like, oh shit. Right, sorry guys, that's so bland of me.
I thought you was talking quiet. I was like trying to turn up the levels. Right, let's just move on from that. Okay. Right, we've got time for language lessons with Amy. So this is a time where I tell you the basics of the language. So if you go to the country, you can get around.
Talk
with
to
some
them all.
Icelandic. Yeah.
Wicked.
So I'm going to give you the basics. This is how you say hello.
Halló.
Good morning.
Góðan daginn.
This is how you say good night.
Góða nótt.
Bye.
Bye.
Please.
Vinsamlegast.
Yes, please.
Já takk.
Thank you.
Þakka þér fyrir.
Okay, so I always like to put the longest word of a language because it's always fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is the longest word in Icelandic.
Vaðlaheiðar, vegavinnu, verkfærageymslu, skúrs, útidyra, lyklakippur, hringur.
That's one word.
That sounds like a whole sentence.
I know, it's insane, isn't it? Let's hear it again.
Vaðlaheiðar, vegavinnu, verkfærageymslu, skúrs, útidyra, lyklakippur, hringur.
Okay, were you listening carefully? Because I need you to say that now.
It sounds like he's saying, hey, do you want to have a lick of my ice cream?
Oh,
If you think about it.
When we listened to that, did not think that, but that's okay.
Okay, I need to hear what part. Right, okay, listen to this because you're gonna have to say it yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Vaðlaheiðar, vegavinnu, verkfærageymslu, skúrs, útidyra, lyklakippur, hringur.
Was it the last bit? Can I have
Yeah.
a look?
Go on,
Right, Becky,
Okay.
you got to try and say that word.
Go.
Yeah, on it. La 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 la.
La la ma la 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 la.
That's just like, it's just
That
so
wasn't even long
spitty,
enough.
isn't it? He's like spitting per like syllable.
Can you have a guess of what it means?
It means. Okay. It means, it's just one word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah, an appropriate word.
I mean, yeah, that works. But you're wrong. It means the key ring of the keychain of the outer door to the storage tool shed of the road workers.
Oh, that's just ridiculous.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, because some languages have like for what would be a sentence for us, they have one word for it. Because on one of our episodes we learnt in Germany, there was a really long word, and it was strange. It's like something to do like the law you pass in court for something to do with cattle, but they have one word for it, and I think it was longer than that Icelandic word, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, is that the longest word in the world?
No, the longest word in the world is where Amy thinks you're from, Becky. It's a Welsh train station. By the way, Becky's from Bristol. People in Bristol, yeah, they'll probably be offended if we all said, oh, they're Welsh people from Bristol. But it's a train station, isn't it, in Wales? We're going to have to try and find it now, aren't we?
It's
Yeah, like
That, you sound really Welsh.
Can you speak Welsh?
No,
As you're from Wales.
don't be so silly. I'm on the border of Wales, so I'm like 45 minutes away from Bristol, and then there's Hereford, and then there's Abergavenny. When I do like I go around the roundabout like 2 minutes away from my house, and I'm on my way to Abergavenny.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you really are on the border.
I'm on the border. Like, I could fall off it.
Should we, crazy idea, but should we talk about Iceland?
Yeah, well, I've been giving you some Icelandic words. That's the word that I'm looking for.
Bing.
Right, okay, so you know the guy who was just talking in that clip? Guess where he's from?
Iceland?
Iceland.
I thought you were just going to say that. No, he's from Game of Thrones.
Get that TV series.
Oh, do you not watch it?
I watched the first episode with my parents, and I was like, I'll skip that one. They were like, should we watch the next episode? I was like, no.
No, Dad.
Yeah.
I think we watched the first one, didn't we? Like, this is weird.
Yeah, we don't actually watch it. I'm dedicated that I'm going to do it one day, but just not anytime soon. The guy who recorded all of the language for us, he's from Game of Thrones. He was an extra in it, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
Not that I watch the programme, but it's still really cool.
But it's like so popular, isn't it?
Yeah. When we was there, we went on a walking tour, because we're cool like that.
Yeah.
We were told that Icelandic people have a really special word in their language, which is...
Þetta
Retta?
rettast.
Rettast.
Þetta rettast.
Retta restas.
So what that means is basically it'll fix itself. It's going to take care of itself. Everything's going to be fine. It's like our version of Hakuna Matata. Pretty much. And we say this all the time. Did some of you watch the European Championships of football?
Yeah, unfortunately.
We have a lot of English people. I have to do this. So when we played England during the European Championships, you know, we were the underdogs. We went in and we said "Þetta rettast," and England scored the first goal, and we said "Þetta rettast," and we won. Yes. Then about a week later, we played France, and they scored a couple of goals, and we said "Þetta rettast," and we lost. You win some, you lose some. Yeah.
Vettaratas.
Yeah, go on, Becky.
Rananastas.
That was so poor. Rettarettas.
We say it all the time now, like when we're in the house.
Vettaresta.
If anything goes like, or goes to go wrong, we always go, Vettaratas. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah, nah.
Vettaratas.
You're both really good at speaking like with
Well,
the accents. I'm
we-
really bad.
We're cultured people, Becky.
You are. Like, I can do Birmingham. My mum's having a baby. That's it. That's it.
Pretty good.
And my mum's not having a baby, but I can still say it.
Can you do a Scottish accent?
No.
Scottish.
Scot.
Go to Scotland.
I went to Iceland with a Scottish girl.
Oh, great. Oh, which reminds me, can you tell me about like when you were booking your trip to Iceland, what sort of happened there?
Okay, so I was like, I really want to go to Iceland for my birthday. And it was a bit of a sport choice. I was like, look, I want to be in the Blue Lagoon for my birthday. And my two mates who I used to live with in London were like, yes, like we're keen, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, my mate got a job as like a self-employed teacher. And unfortunately, when we booked it, we were like, right, we're doing these dates 100%. I think we booked the Airbnb. We booked something and she couldn't do the dates. And she just found that out. Basically, she just couldn't get it off. No one could cover her. So I obviously had a hissy fit. I was like, I got over it quite fast. And we were like, right, we've got to find a date. And my mate in Scotland, like, she was trying to figure out what dates she could do. We all figured out the dates. And then when it got to the time, my Scottish mate was keen, but my other mate was like, oh, it's going to be so expensive over there. And she was going to get a puppy. Like, she's got it now. But she was like, do we go, don't we go? And I was literally just like, I've promised to do this podcast. We're going. Like, because I genuinely thought if I didn't promise to do this podcast with you guys, I genuinely think I wouldn't have gone. Because I thought to myself, okay, so we've lost like 250 quid. But when we go over there, we haven't bought any of the excursions or stuff. So it would have cost like another 300. So it was kind of like, do we not? And then do we? And I was kind of like, do you know what? there's no point.
So it didn't have anything to do with the abusive messages I was sending you, like, I will cut you if you don't come on my podcast, yeah?
So that's true. It's because of this show. That's pretty much the only reason why you and your friend doesn't even know who we are. We are the reason why your friend has now been to Iceland.
Yeah, no, genuinely. And also, like, my Scottish mate was like, no, we're going, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do that on 250 quid. But for me to put, like, to be like, no, we're going is because of the podcast. So I was like, I'm not bailing. I'm not being a bailer.
That is true commitment. Yeah, like it's annoying when friends let you down. Like, oh, see you Saturday night, and then they're like, oh, I'm ill, I can't come. You went to fucking another country for us just to not let us down. So well done.
Dedication.
It is dedication, thank you.
And you've come all the way from Wales as well. So you've done well. Right, let's move on.
Right, let's actually talk about Iceland now. So there's a few things we're going to talk about. The Golden Circle, the waterfalls, the geysers, however you say it. We're going to play a game as well, like I said. We're going to talk about the Blue Lagoon tour and Reykjavik, the capital itself. So did you do the Golden Circle tour?
Oh my gosh, did I?
Okay, well, we'll let Nick explain what it is.
So yeah, people listening might have heard about it before. It's kind of the one of the main things you do when you go to Iceland. So the Golden Circle tour, it basically just takes you out of Reykjavik to some of the famous tourist attractions, like in the countryside. So yeah, like waterfalls and all sorts of things like that. You see, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Thillingvara National Park, which I believe is where the two like tectonic plates kind of meet, which is quite cool. So you can kind of see two bits of land coming together and a gap in the middle, which is quite cool. And you also see the geysers and Gilfoss, the waterfall, which is also known as the Golden Waterfall for some reason. And you also see the second biggest glacier in Iceland. So it's an all-day thing, go on a coach, and it just gets you out of Reykjavik. So does it sound like you did any of that?
Yeah, I did that.
You did it. So any thoughts in particular on that trip and the things you saw?
Well, firstly, I didn't do the 12-hour tour. I was like, no. You know, we're there for like 2 days. I'll do a 6-hour bus journey. I get travel sick real bad. So I was one of those that sat at the front, like near the front. Right, do you know what it was? Yeah, it's like, if you're going to say something, do it. Like, don't not say it. So this woman who's a tour guide was like, I won't talk much on the bus. I'm like, boom. Put a new album on, put Banks' new album on. I'm like chilling. The whole time she was on the mic. Like she was loving it. Do you know what I mean? There was a few people in the back that were clapping and she was off. She would not stop. She was loving the claps. So the whole way, like that was a bit irritating. But she said some good facts, like Bjork, that singer and stuff, and she said that she was in that on the waterfall, whatever. So the bus journey wasn't too bad. I think the guy next to me had quavers, which like just it's just unfortunate.
They're crisps for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah, then they stink. It's like, you know what? I always care about people. If I'm like going to get something to sit on a bus with, I'm going to think, actually, I'm not going to have that egg sandwich or that tuna sandwich because it might affect someone.
Yeah,
he didn't care. He didn't care. He was munching away.
I love this because we're going to get into the depths of what travelling actually is. Because when we talk about stuff, we're like, oh, it's amazing. We saw all these wonderful vistas and views. It was incredible. But now we're going to get to the nitty gritty of when you're travelling with other people that annoy you.
Yeah.
Quavers.
Yeah, how unfortunate. What's-it in quavers, and luckily he didn't suck his fingers. Do you know when they? But with what's-it, you would have done that. You'd have to have done that.
No choice.
So yeah, you've got no choice. You're not going to wipe on your. Well, you might wipe it on your leg, but I don't know. So anyway, the tour, the weather was okay. Obviously, it's another story, but I forgot my coat.
You went to Iceland with no coat.
Yeah, luckily my friend who knows me took my passport the night before. Was like, give me your passport. Otherwise, I'd have forgot that. Because I only figured out on the way to the airport. We went to the service station, and I was like, oh, my coat's going to be in the boot. Open the boot. My coat wasn't in there.
Can you tell us what else you forgot that was vitally important? She's forgotten now. Your bank card?
Oh, yeah, I forgot my bank card. But it was...
Oh, yeah, standard, babes.
It was... Do you know what? It was so fortunate that I'm so lazy. My mate went and got the money, the Icelandic money. So, fortunately, it wasn't too bad because I just did a bank transfer. But the coat was like, I wasn't going to buy another coat. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I'm going to just be cold. So I did. I was just cold.
So, what time of year were you there?
April.
See, we were there a bit before in February where it was cold. And when we were doing the tour, we actually ended up renting a car because we won't go too much into it, but we were massively delayed on our flight to Iceland.
Fuck you, Wow Air.
Yeah, Wow Air is shit. And we've actually found out Iceland's like one of the main places in the world where flights are delayed the most. And so, long story short, we were pushed way back on our schedule and we missed our Golden Circle tour. So we rented a car and we tried to condense it down into like 2 or 3 hours. And so we stopped at each site tourist attraction for like 5 minutes. We're like, right, next one. But it was rainy, really cold, shitty, and because we weren't in the best mood, we didn't really enjoy it that much, did we?
No, especially the first bit. So there's on the tour you get to a first viewing point and you go up on like some decking and it's meant to be a place that looks really good. But and I understand we were there at the best time of year to see stuff like the Northern Lights and that. But we were there and it was raining and it was cloudy and it was literally the worst view I've ever seen in my life. And I remember just standing there thinking, why? Like, even if the weather was good, I don't get why you would come here because it's just marshy land. There's nothing exciting to look at. So I was getting really riled up about that, weren't I?
You were, but we didn't have time to see the big waterfall, did you?
I did.
How was that?
Right, so basically when we went there, right, it was like, 4 hours into the journey and it started raining. Like, I've got the thinnest, like, thinner than this shirt. By the way, you can't see it, but it's so, like, honestly. I
can see through it.
Yeah. So I had like a pre-marked Mac that I just put over my coat, which I luckily put in my hand luggage. And it was just raining, so I was like, right, pout up there, take a cheeky pic for Instagram or something, or Facebook. You know, my family would love it. And then just get back in there. So I didn't hear the woman talking. I was like, I heard you enough on the bus. So we just had a look at it, took a few cheeky shots, you know, and then we just walked straight back down.
Okay, who was the tour with? What company? Do you remember? Your friend probably booked it.
Icelandic tour.
Okay, we were with Reykjavik Excursions.
Oh, that was it.
Oh yeah,
I think it was.
Us personally, I wouldn't really recommend them, would you? Amy?
No, I mean, it was all very unorganised. It's a bit like when you're in Asia, and I don't know why I'd be more forgiving in Asia. I should just be like the same everywhere. But you get picked up by these buses who, like, if you're not standing outside, they just go straight past. They don't give a shit that you'll miss your tour. That didn't happen to us, luckily. But actually, the same company dropped us from the airport into the middle of town at 3 a.m. We had to get up at 8 the next morning for another tour. And he was like, oh, he dropped us in the middle of town. He pointed to somewhere going, oh, that's your hostel there. He was pointing at it. And I went, I don't know what you're pointing at. Yeah. Kept pointing. We ended up finding out that our hostel was like a 15-minute walk from there, and he was pointing at a random location, and he said, that's your hostel, and just dropped us in the middle of town at 3 a.m. We'd been delayed for 10 hours, so we were not in the best mood at all. So there's all these different things. So this company is like really unorganised, and then you get picked up for your tour, they drop you into this random bus station where everyone gets collated into this one place, and then they don't tell you which, because you're on a small bus, then you get on a bigger bus. They don't tell you which bus to go to. Nothing's clear, and it was just really stressful. Yeah,
it's a bit like, as a tourist, we were just kind of like cattle being herded from one place to another, and it was just like, kind of tourism on a mass scale, not very personal, and it just wasn't really that good, to be honest. But yeah, your experience, it might be different.
Do you know what? My experience is totally different.
Great.
Genuinely. So when we went there, it was pouring it down, and this random bus came next to us, and we were like, when we were going to the Blue Lagoon, we're going to the Blue Lagoon. He was like, oh, just jump on. And we jumped on. We were very fortunate. So we might have been with a different company. When we had the excursion, the Golden Circle tour, they did pick us up. And then I was like, boom, like I had a nice seat. It was comfy. And then when they went, oh, get off, there's another bus, I was fuming. I was like, oh, you know when you just get excited, you're like, you're cushy, do you know what I mean? And we got off, but it was fine. Like it was cool. It was more, it was the other tourists that annoyed me. Like they were just like, so when you have a group, I've never done any traveling and stuff before, but obviously there was this crew that had never met before, and they just given their life story. And it was like, this girl was like I'm a journalist in New York, and I was like, oh, here she goes. Do you know what I mean? And you knew exactly what type of person she was, and she just kept going. And the drivers were incredible. The tour was amazing. It was just the other tourists.
Okay.
Well, that's something that annoys a lot of people, so it's good to know.
Yeah.
So you went to the waterfall, like you said. What was that like? Describe it for us. We didn't see it.
It was amazing. Do you know what I thought? I thought, God, if someone fell down there, you ain't got a chance. Like, it was real powerful.
That's what you thought?
Yeah, like I thought to myself, because it was windy, and I wasn't going to get blown over, but I thought by my mate, I was like, you know, it's just so big. Like, I know that sounds silly, but it's like, whoa. Like, the noise. You're going to hear the noise of the water. I think silly. It doesn't sound like water. It's like,
you're really painting a picture.
It's like whoosh.
Wow, I feel like I'm there now.
Do you? It's crazy, isn't it? I'm quite good at the sound effects.
But like, I've seen pictures of this particular waterfall. It actually doesn't look that amazing. It just looks like a standard. When you see pictures of Niagara and Iguazu in South America and all these massive waterfalls, to see this, it just doesn't look very impressive.
I've seen the pictures. I think it looks good.
Do you know what? It was hard to get a good picture of it because you are so far away, because you've got them silly barriers, which I know that have health and safety because someone's going to go down one time, but it is amazing. Like, if you can see it in person, like I always say, a camera doesn't do it just, do you know what I mean? Like, a camera, unless you're like a massive photographer with like a 20k camera, you ain't going to get exactly what it looks like. But it was good. That was the one I was there for like 3 minutes, and I was like, oh, it's freezing. I'm going.
Okay, and yes, did you see some geysers? What do you think about them?
Them the things that blow up.
Yeah, the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you know what? I'm gonna be honest, yeah. So I got an Instagram vid of it, and I was like, I want it slow mo. And everyone was like, oh, it's gonna be like in 20 seconds. And I was stood there, and I was like, oh my gosh. And you know when you're just trying not to, it's like nature and that, and it's like, oh, happy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited to be here. And I was just like, just do the goddamn. And I kept changing. I was like, if I go off this, you know, because I had to keep stopping. I was like, I'm not doing a slow mo for like 20 minutes. I kept going off it. And the moment, I promise you, the moment I stopped it to restart it, whew, straight in the air.
Because you're so good at sound effects. How does it go?
I went,
So quiet, anticlimax. I actually really like the geysers. I thought they were good. We only saw one go off like 2 or 3 times, but I thought it was really cool. But the whole area around it smells of egg. Do you remember that?
don't talk to me about egg in Iceland.
You know what? The geysers was the one bit that I did like. It's one of those bucket list things that you kind of want to see. It's quite cool. I mean, you stand there for like 4 to 5 minutes on this particular one because obviously they all go off on different times. But yeah, you stand there and then all the water's in this pool. It looks like a natural jacuzzi basically. It all bubbles up and then it shoots. And it's really cool. I mean, don't know. Do I think it's worth doing the 2-hour drive? Because we did, I think from Reykjavik to there is about 2 hours. I think so, actually, yeah. Because you can see other things on the way. But if you were going just for that, I don't know. You need to think about how much you want to tick that off your bucket list, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, as for the Golden Circle tour, it's nice to get out of Reykjavik, out of the city. I'm guessing, Beckii, you'd recommend people do it if they go to Iceland?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I would say do it because it's the kind of thing that it's like going to Paris and not doing the Eiffel Tower. You just go because you're there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would recommend people do it. We were just rushed, unfortunate, but yeah, that was our plane's fault.
Cool, okay, so it's now time for our game, and then we're going to come back and talk about other things like Reykjavik, the place itself, and our walking tour and the Northern Lights and stuff like that. So, Nick, what are we doing with this game?
So, we've come up with geniusly named Geyser or Geyser because we've spoken about geysers in Iceland. Now, if you're from the UK, we call blokes, hard men, we call them geezers, don't we?
Yeah.
A lot of people might not know, but yeah, in England, a geezer is a bloke. Proper meaty. I was about to say tasty. What does that even mean? Not a gay thing. So, we came up with a great game. Geyser or Geyser?
Sweet as mate.
Call yourself a fucking gangster. Proper men. Wankers.
Nice, bruv!
Fuck off!
Yes.
Okay, so I guess it's me against Beckii. Nick, what are the rules and what are we doing?
I've just realised at this point, we haven't actually really described what a geyser in Iceland is. It's just water that's heated underground by volcanic rock, blah, 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 pressure rises, and the water spurts out. And I've already... Thank you. I've already described what a geyser is in England. Okay, I am going to read out either the name of a geyser, like in Iceland, a geyser, or it's a real man's name, an Icelandic name. So you guys have to decide. You can each take your time to think what your answer is going to be. You decide whether it's a geyser, Beckii, do it, or is it a proper geyser London?
Oi,
basically, yeah, oi, oi. So is it is it a geyser or is it a man? Okay, so round 1. Is this a man or is it a geyser? Sigurd.
That's really hard, actually.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Go on, Amy. What's your answer?
Okay, so I'm going to say that's a man, a geezer.
Beckii?
I'm going to go for that natural thingy. That like geezer, not the guy.
Okay. Amy?
Sweet as mate.
Yes!
You got that one right. That was a man's name.
Is this fixed?
It's definitely not fixed. Okay, round 2. Strokka.
What do you think? You go first this time.
Well, it's kind of like saying stroker.
Yeah?
Do you know, I'm going to go for the natural geezer, not the
Okay.
guy.
Okay, Amy?
I'm going to go for the natural one. I know this is a natural one.
Both of you girls.
Nice, bruv!
You got it right.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's a natural geyser. So at the moment, it's 2-1 to Amy. Round 3. This is going to be really hard to pronounce. Oh my... I'm probably saying all of these completely wrong as well. Gudmunda. Man or geyser?
I don't know, but I feel like it's a man.
Okay, Beckii?
I'm going for the non-man geezer. I'm going for that natural, like...
All right.
Can we have the sound effect again?
Becky.
Shut
You got it wrong, mate. Amy's got another
Mate, I've
point.
got it again.
It's 3-1 to Amy. Right.
That's an amazing jingle.
Round 4. Ulafa. Becky, you go first this time.
I'm gonna say it's a guy.
Okay, Amy.
Yeah, I actually think it sounds like a woman's name, but so I'm gonna go with a guy as well.
Okay.
Nice, bruv!
You both got it right.
Yes.
This actually looks so fixed because I never get things right on games.
So Amy's winning 4-2. Yeah, you're right. You're normally not that great at the
Normally
games.
shit.
Next one, round 5. Oh my god. Hakadalur.
I'm going for natural.
Okay, natural Geyser.
I don't really know what to say for this one. I haven't got a gut feeling on it. Just to make it competitive, I'll go with the opposite. I'll say it's a man.
Okay, Amy.
Fuck off!
You got it wrong, mate.
Yes, fuck off.
Becky is getting back in there. So it is now 4-3 to Amy. Okay, round 6. Gisli. Is that a real name or is it a geezer?
It's a tough one.
Yeah, that is tough. Gisli. I'm gonna go with natural.
Okay,
I'm
Becky.
going for a geezer, a guy.
Okay, Becky.
Sweet
And you're now level. It is now 4-4.
It's tense.
That was a man's name. Yeah, Gisli. That was a man's name. Next one, round 7. Operishola.
Operishala. That doesn't even sound Icelandic.
Yeah, I'm probably pronouncing it completely wrong.
I just don't know anymore. My gut's just like, I don't know what the fuck to think.
I'm going for a guy.
Okay, I'll go with natural then.
Okay.
Okay, Becky.
Fuck off!
You got it wrong.
Oh, yes!
Amy's back in the lead. Round 8. Here we go.
Okay.
Dave.
Dave.
Did I pronounce that right? Dave.
What?
Guy. Straight away, guy.
Amy?
But this could be like Dove or something like that. It could be a massive trick.
A massive trick.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to go with natural.
Okay.
Becky.
Nice, bruv!
She's got
Yes.
one. Obviously, Dave is a man's name.
Oh, Dave. I love a good name called Dave. A
So
good
I
name,
think
good guy.
I love a good day. I think we're 5-5 at the moment. Round 9. Coming at ya. Gunlager.
Natural geezer.
Yeah, I'm going to say natural for that as well.
Both for you.
Fuck off!
Both wrong.
Oh, mate, no way.
That is a man's name. Last one. Round 10. Gylfi.
I'm going to say natural.
I'm gonna make it competitive. This is the last round.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a guy's name.
And this is dramatic. It's tied 5-5. Last one. Amy's gone natural. You've gone for a man's name. Becky.
Sweet.
You got it.
Hey.
You were behind that whole game, and right at the end, you overtook Amy and you
just
won.
snapped it.
This isn't
mate.
alive, yeah.
Can I have the sound effect again?
No, that wasn't it. That's it.
Sweet as my.
Fuck off!
Nice, bruv! Sweet as my.
Call yourself a fucking gangster. Proper men. Wankers.
Nice, bruv!
Fuck off!
How do you feel, Amy?
Not great, actually, to lose against such a unexperienced traveller.
It's true though. Like genuinely, we're the total opposite.
Yeah, but she's experienced with men.
Oh!
Boom, boom.
We need some air horns again.
Oh, like Tim Westwood used. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do
This
it.
is turning into like a beatboxing sort
It
of
is, isn't it?
episode. Can I have the air horns again? Go.
Oh my gosh!
That was it. Nailed it.
That was amazing.
I was so impressed with myself then.
That was amazing. Right, so Becky, let's get back to Iceland.
Okay.
So when you booked your trip, I saw on Facebook that you were pretty adamant about being in the Blue Lagoon on your birthday. So did you get there on your birthday and what
No.
did you think of it?
I did not get there on my birthday, but it was cool. I spent it with my family and friends, so I was like over that. The Blue Lagoon itself was an experience. So, of course, me and my friends, we booked it like the day before. We didn't know what we were doing. We were there for 38 hours. The plan was we try and do everything in a short amount of time, but it was that we do the Blue Lagoon. As soon as we arrived at the airport, we get a transfer and go straight to the Blue Lagoon. That was the plan. Lo and behold, everything was fully booked until the evening. But it was the best thing. I loved it. I loved it in the evening. It was so good.
So when you say evening, what sort of time was this?
We went there at 9 o'clock, 9
so
p.m.
you got there at 9 p.m?
Yeah,
Wow.
we stayed there till about 11 until it closed.
And they're quite funny with, well, not them, like the atmosphere and science and shit. Yeah. That changes daylight. So was it light? Was it really dark? What was it like?
When we went in, it was kind of like getting a bit dark. So like UK time in the summer is about 8 o'clock. So you can see it's getting a little bit dark, if you know what I mean.
Evening time, yeah.
Yeah. It's basically
That's what we call evening, Becky.
So it was kind of like that. And then when we got out, it was like dark.
So night. You'd gone from evening into night.
So
What happened when you went to bed and then woke up the next morning?
it was actually light, so I'm guessing that was morning. But yeah,
But seriously, I was very impressed with the Blue Lagoon. So, for those that don't know, the Blue Lagoon's geothermal seawater flows from volcanic aquifers deep within the earth, emerging to the surface enriched with silica minerals and algae, and is made up of 9 million litres of seawater. The seawater originates from over 6,000 feet underground, and the average temperature is 100 Fahrenheit, which is 38 degrees. So that's what it is at the top. Perfect for relaxing, having a nice bath in it. It's blue because of the way the silica reflects sunlight. The lava surrounding the Blue Lagoon is 800 years old, which actually in geological time is the blink of an eye. And it takes 40 hours for the water to naturally renew itself. It's one of the 25 wonders of the world. So yeah, you would recommend doing it at night. Were you able to see the stars, or was it?
yeah,
very
it was
smoky?
amazing. Like, do you know what I regret though? I was on my phone so much. Like, I literally was just like, I'm just going to go on my phone. And I think my mates probably absorbed way more of it because they didn't take their phone in. I took my phone in and I was trying to get all these cool shots. And I was like, I'm not a photographer. Like, I took one shot. And do you know what? The shot I put on Instagram and Facebook, I had actually I went into the locker at the end of it and took it out of the waterproof case and took a picture, like stood up. So really, like the whole time I was taking pictures in the Blue Lagoon, there was no point because the picture I actually used was at the end when I took a picture. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was glass. It was real cool.
And that's like such a big thing that we have spoke about it before on the podcast, that you can get so wrapped up with like the digital world and being like, look where I am, I'm in this country doing this and taking photos and stuff, that you're right, you don't absorb the experience as much, and it is a bit of a downer. We didn't take our phones in, but we took our GoPro because it was in the case. So I was quite happy about that because it's not something I could sit on and really like look through it. It's just the GoPro, you just turn it on and off. But talking about the Blue Lagoon itself, so you arrive in your bus and everybody has their own like scheduled time of going in, but was there massive queues when you just got there?
When we got there, I think we queued for about 5 minutes. So it was a real short queue, and it was actually perfect because when you walk in, you can see a little bit on the side, to the side. So we were like, oh my gosh. And then when we were queuing, we could see the shop. And then we went straight in. We had like a wrist thing. But it was quite funny because my mate has got really skinny wrists and it wouldn't go on, like the smallest. So she put it around her ankle. Obviously, when we went to the lockers, she was like putting her leg, I was lifting her leg up to try and get the bloody thing to open. I was like, oh God. But it was amusing, so...
I was really impressed with all like the whole thing, like the changing facilities, everything, because I was worried that it'd be one of these tourist attractions where they just get as many people in as possible, charge as much as they want, and it's all a bit tacky. But I thought the whole thing was class. It was like you're going to a nice spa day, wasn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the changing rooms.
You're right. It was really classy. So much so that when we came out, I obviously took my bikini off to get into the shower, and it was wet, and I hung it up because, I mean, where else would you put it? And the cleaner came over and told me off for hanging up my wet bikini, and I was like, where else do you put it?
Yeah.
But she like probably shouted at me. What did you think when you walked out of the changing rooms and you saw the whole thing right there in front of you? What did you think?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my God. Oh, but it was unbelievable. Like, when I walked out, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it looks incredible. Do you know what I mean? I was like buzzing.
Yeah, you just want to photograph everything. And it really is what you see from pictures. It really is that blue.
Yeah.
Like Nick was just saying with the silica, the way that the sun reflects it. It's amazing. And then you go in there and it's a bit awkward at first, though, because you're in your bikini, but everyone else is under the water, obviously. It's like when you're in a pool and you just don't want anyone to see you.
Yeah.
You have to quickly, like, dive into the water.
Yeah.
But it's like this slow ramp. And the bottom of it is like, it's not sand and it's not concrete. It's kind of in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And did you put your head under the water?
Oh, I was about to say that.
Could you hear the buzzing?
No, but I tasted it.
Oh.
Oh. Honestly.
Well, it's seawater, so I'm guessing it was
Yeah,
super
well,
salty.
I was just like, you know what I'm like, I wasn't expecting what it was, but when I went into it, I kind of slipped. Like, I was fully in, so I could have, like, I styled it out completely, like, no one had a clue. But I did swallow a bit, and I was like, oh, it made me gag a few times, and then I was over it, and I just went to the bar.
Well, I was just about to talk about the bar. Yeah, it's cool
Yeah.
because with your wristband you've got, you can use that to like pay for drinks,
Mm-hmm.
which so you can chill by the bar. For free, you can also get like a face mask, can't you? All that
Yeah.
like mud you put on your face. So it's a really cool, like relaxing, and it's really good for you, isn't it? Like the silica is really good for your skin.
When I came out, I genuinely looked about 10 years younger, and I'm only 26. So, yeah, so you go up to, there's like these booths in the middle, and you go up with this face cream, and calling it mud, you assume it's brown, but it's not, it's white. And just slap that all over your face or wherever you want, cheeky.
Really?
And then about 10 minutes later, you use the water, the Blue Lagoon water, to wash it off. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did do
What
that.
did you do?
Do you know what? Yeah, it was like, you know, the rocks. They had that type of stuff on there.
What, at the side of it?
Yeah, did you see?
Yeah.
Like, it looked like a bit of a mud mass. So obviously, I didn't see these booths. So we went. I'm saying we went to the bar. I got a slush puppy for Christ's sake. Like, I didn't even get a bloody beer. You know what I mean? Acting all hard, bar.
I totally got a slush puppy.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
I got a slush puppy. Did you know actually?
No, I didn't. No,
What
what
did you
did I
get?
get?
Smoothie.
I'm lying. I got a smoothie.
You got smooth. Well, the slush puppy, I was taking like, you know, again, I was on my phone taking a picture. It said crap on it.
Oh, I saw
you
this
see
in your
that?
picture on the cup of the drink. It says crap on it.
Everyone was putting laughing faces. Like, ha! I was like, what are you laughing at? That was a great picture. Like, that's so
Yeah,
indie.
we thought that's why you put it up.
Yeah, no, didn't have a clue. So I was like, oh, there we go. But as soon as we got the drink on the rock, I thought people were just scraping it and putting it on your
dear.
face. Yeah, I only put a bit on my cheek. I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Like, no one's doing it. And then we saw the booth, and I was like, now I know.
To be fair, it is quite hard to spot. Like when we first got in, I went up to somebody who had it all over their face and asked them. But maybe that's what you should have done.
Just not took off the rock.
So we can all agree that if everyone is going to Iceland, that everyone should go to the Blue Lagoon. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed, definitely. Like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of the country, which will come out later. But the Blue Lagoon was 100% the highlight. I would recommend everyone to go to Iceland because of that. You know, straight from the airport, get to the Blue Lagoon because, in my opinion, it's the best part.
I agree.
And then leave and go back to the airport.
And then get the fuck out, really.
Get the fuck out of there.
Which leads us nicely on to the next thing we're going to talk about, which is Reykjavik. Now, yeah, this, for us, we'll talk about our experience in a minute because we felt a bit let down by Reykjavik. Don't know what we're expecting, really. But what did you think, Becky? And did you do much in Reykjavik?
We did. Do you know what? We messed up. I didn't bring enough money. I could have used my card out there. Like, I've got one of those cards where you can use it free of charge. But I was just gobsmacked. Firstly, so when we got off the airport, transfers was incredible. We're really happy with that. And we got to the apartment. The apartment was beautiful, like so nice. But that like there was 3 beds in one room, and I snore. So, like, literally, I had to sleep on the sofa. But apart from that, the flat was amazing. Reykjavik, the town itself, I thought it was really pretty. I found it nice. For instance, like, we went for quite a long walk and we saw this massive, like, statue. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I've actually got it. I've actually got it on my front screen. Let me show you that. Sorry, guys, I'm just showing them.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it looks like a bit of the front of a boat, weirdly.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
it's like the old school boats, maybe when like how the first people ever got to Iceland on like a rowing boat.
Yeah, so it was like a statue. So when we walked down there, we had about like a 20-minute walk, and there was like real cool bars and stuff that I'd seen and that. But I found it a nice city, but it reminded me of like Amsterdam a little bit. I
Okay.
don't know why, but
Okay.
it just reminded me of just like of a town. Like it was like, and also the houses. I watched this haunted, I think it was like houses in Connecticut or something, and the houses freaked me out. Like, I walked past this house with like loads of dolls in, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, it felt a bit haunted to me. Do you know what I mean? It was like real, like nothing's changed for years.
Yeah, no, I'd completely agree. I'm really surprised you're saying about Amsterdam because I would say Amsterdam's a really pretty green place, bikes everywhere, lots of flowers. Yet my first impressions of when I saw Reykjavik was haunted, everything's grey, everything's square.
Yeah.
It's like an industrial estate, yet people live there. It's really strange how it just looks like a load of industrial businesses. It doesn't look like a home.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more with you, Becky. I did quite like the look of it because I thought it was just quite peculiar. Like, it was different, not necessarily the prettiest. I could see, what Amy's saying. It was quite grey, but you get some of the houses that are different colours. I thought it looked quite cool. I just thought it was a different, quite a quirky place, and obviously it's a small town. and that's part of the charm of it. But being a small town, there's also not really much to do.
Yeah.
So we walked around quite a bit. But yeah, then when you want to go for dinner and find a bar and just maybe some live music or a show or something, there really wasn't much for us to do. Like our last night there, we said to the girl working at a hostel, like, what do you recommend we do tonight? And she said, bearing in mind this is the capital city of a country, she said, the best thing going on tonight, what you want to do is our sister hostel, they're playing an old Viking movie, if you want to go check it out.
No.
And we were speechless.
Can you imagine if that happened in London? Like, seriously?
You got Matilda playing in the back. Do you want to watch that? Yeah.
Like, I was just gobsmacked. And it wasn't like we were there for a whole week and we'd run out of things to do. This was the second or third night. And so another reason why we had a bad experience in Iceland is because a lot of our tours were cancelled. So we had the Northern Lights tour and we booked it on the first night because we knew that the company, if you don't get to go or you don't see the lights, they'll take you the following night, which is good on the company. I get that. But we didn't even leave. Now, bearing in mind we were there in February, the best time of year to see the lights. And we were there for 3 nights, cancelled 3 times in a row. So we were delayed for 10 hours getting there by an Icelandic airline that we found out after always has delays. Then we had a tour that was cancelled 3 times. The walking tour that we went on, which we'll talk about now, was really good, but only because of the guys that were running it. They were amazing. At the end of it, we had a really good time, but we thought, what have we actually seen in this capital city?
Yeah.
I'm going to put a picture on our Instagram of the clock tower. It's like a famous clock tower where people meet in the city. It's fucking depressing. It's shorter than me. I'm taller than this clock tower. I'm going to show you a picture.
I don't think I've seen this, actually.
No, you probably have, but you just don't realise what it is.
Seriously?
But this is where we met for our tour, because you always meet walking tours in like the main part of a city, don't you? So this is it.
What?
So you probably walked past it and
I
didn't even notice
I
it.
genuinely may have walked past it and not even realised.
So the one thing that you would have seen, well, you probably did having a walk around Reykjavik, was the church, which is a massive church, and it's got cascading like sides to it because it's meant to look like a waterfall basically out of concrete, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Now this is a downside of the tour guides that they didn't take us there on the walking tour.
What?
That's, in my opinion, that's the only thing to see in Reykjavik that is amazing, other than like some of the lakes. But you have to kind of go out a little bit. You need a car to get there.
Yeah.
And they didn't take us there. Don't get me wrong, it was an amazing tour. He was so interesting, this guy.
Yeah.
Even that, I mean, like, even the local people don't see that there's anything interesting to show you. So for some reason, there's this road sign, just, you wouldn't notice it. It's a road sign, like, it's normal.
Yeah.
And a lot of couples that have photos with this road sign, for some reason, break up. Okay, so Brad and Angelina Jolie, they had a picture there and they've now broken up. So we actually had photos done there, but separately. So we were in the same photo.
Yes.
But there's weird things like that's what he showed us. And, like, don't get me wrong, that is actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't get how you're making a walking tour out of this, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, in a city or town where there's not much to do, the little there is to do, of course, when it is really expensive, that is also off-putting. Like, we just went to get a drink, and yeah, you're paying like £8 or £9 for a beer. Did you do much in Reykjavik, like go out for meals or drinks or anything?
I'm guessing I was so fortunate because we had so little time. Like, if we had been delayed, that would have messed us completely up. So we literally got to the apartment, tried to shave my legs before I went to the Blue Lagoon. I physically couldn't because the shower stunk of sulphur. I go to the Blue Lagoon, we sleep, we get up in the morning, we go to the Golden Tour, we sleep for 4 hours and then we're off. So we were literally there the perfect amount of time where we couldn't have fitted anything else in. We could have, but it would have been really tight. But if I was there for another day, we would have been stuck. Like, the Northern Lights weren't on when we went. The whale watching, you couldn't have seen the whales unless you went completely out. It was so expensive. We went for one meal. I remember when we got to the apartment, my mates were like, look, we'll go get the pizza when I was back to shave my legs, which didn't obviously happen because the smell of the shower was horrendous. So
that's like that eggy smell, isn't it?
Honestly, so we get into the apartment, I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, it was so nice. We had like a kitchen and everything. And I turned the tap on. I just went for a wee. Do you know what I mean? Innocent toilet. And I turned the tap on to wash my hands. I was like, what the... You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's just a tap, like just a water tap. I turned the shower on and I genuinely, like, the second night I had to shower in it because I was like, I'm not getting on the plane, like, dirty. And I gagged. Like, I nearly threw up. It was the worst. Like, I actually... because of that, I took my shampoo and conditioner and showered at the Blue Lagoon. and dried my hair and everything. So I was ready for the next day. It stunk. Like, it absolutely stunk. Like, honestly, it was horrendous. Like, I was going to actually leave a review on... I don't leave reviews on TripAdvisor. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just not one of those. I genuinely considered it because I was like, these poor people won't realise what's hit them. It's horrendous. So, yeah.
So that wasn't actually the apartment's fault, though, was it? That's what Iceland, their water has that smell to it.
Yeah.
And it's the same when you go to the geysers, because everyone takes these videos, but no one actually tells you it fucking stinks.
It stinks.
It really smells like the eggiest smell I've ever smelled.
It's just horrendous. It's horrendous.
And I think this is a good like analogy of Iceland. That it looks amazing, but when you're there, it's a completely different experience.
It stinks.
It
stinks. It absolutely fucking stinks.
Okay, so you didn't get much time to check out the Reykjavik nightlife. We did. We went on a pub crawl, which I was looking forward to. I heard that Icelanders liked to party.
I've heard that. I heard that as well.
And this pub crawl, you weren't very impressed, were you, Amy?
It was awful.
Really?
It was the worst night I've ever had out.
What happened?
Like, so we're at this pub crawl and it's always awkward at the start because, there's a group of people, everyone's trying to, like, talk to people, get to know, where are you from, what do you do, all that kind of stuff, which is fine, like, whatever. And then I thought, by the time you get to the second bar, it's fine, everyone's getting a bit lively and you get some shots in with your ticket and that, so... drink is expensive there because it's an expensive country, but this is like, if you want to go on a night out, it's the cheaper way of doing it.
Yeah.
And no one really gelled. As a tour guide, you're supposed to like ramp everyone up and get everyone going into it. I reckon you'd be really good at that job, actually. You would be really good at that.
You need to go to Ibiza, like rep.
I genuinely want to do a season next year.
Yeah,
Done.
definitely.
In Ibiza, yeah.
Do it, right. And then we'll interview about Ibiza.
Spain.
You love a bit of Spain. But yeah, we're sitting there and I actually had my head on my hands at like, what time? Midnight maybe. I was trying so hard to go through and just stay with it because I thought it's going to get better, it's going to get better. And we kept going to all these different clubs. We went to about 4 in the end, I think. And it was horrendous at one point because they were playing like all this like gangster music in one of the places, which is fine. Like everybody loves that. And these girls were just proper white girl dancing. And I'm sure you know what I mean by like Instagram. There's a lot of memes about it. They were being so white about it. And it was just such an awkward thing. But they were so dead serious. They were like, they genuinely thought they looked fucking hot. And they were just going for it. It was funny. That was the best entertainment of the night.
Yeah, that probably was, yeah.
But yeah, just the bars and clubs just weren't that great, were they? I'm sure there are plenty of Icelanders that like to party, but, compared to nights out in London, obviously it's not fair to compare because London, I don't know, like probably 20 times the size of Reykjavik.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just weren't that impressed, were we?
What was the name of the last bar we went to? It was like London Bar or England.
I don't know. No idea.
So scattered around Reykjavik, there's a lot of bars like the American bar, the England bar and stuff like that. And I think, again, that's another good analogy of Iceland because my biggest problem with it, and like I love places that have their own culture. Like India's my favourite place. It's so rich with, like what Indian food is, you know what their language is, and it's so strong and you know what it is. But then when you go to Iceland, and this isn't just how I feel, I was told by the locals that, our language isn't strictly ours because we take a bit of that language, you take a bit of that, we mix it up and we make that. And then their food, they don't really have their own food except for fermented shark, which we actually walked around for about an hour and a half trying to find the one restaurant in Reykjavik that could do it, and even our Google Maps couldn't find it. So that was hard to find. And I just feel like they're sort of taking elements of different people's culture and putting it into one. And so they're really mixed, undefined culture. So like I said, you'll get the American bar, the England bar, and it's like, well, where's the Iceland bar? Yeah. I want to see the Icelandic people. I want to mix with the locals, but I couldn't. There was never a chance for us to do that.
Yeah, I do see what you mean. I would definitely say Iceland does have its own culture and identity because it's such a unique place. Like just the facts I read earlier, there's some really cool, quirky, interesting things about it. And yeah, there's Norwegian influences there, like they used to be part of Denmark. But we have so many. We have French and German. We have so many different influences in our culture. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything unusual. But I know, I do see what you mean. But yeah, I would say they've got their own culture. It might not be that strong, but I do see where you're coming. Like, yeah, the food. We asked a girl that worked at a hostel, where can we go find some Icelandic food? She replied, there's no such thing. And she's Icelandic.
Oh. Yeah, and she was pretty rude about it as well. And that was another thing, like, I don't know, I just didn't get a warm feeling from the people. And again, I just want to make it clear, this was just my experience, and obviously it was just one of those trips that wasn't going right, i.e. the delays, the cancelling of the tours and stuff like that. But I was just getting really angry, like, throughout the night, because I was like, our tour has been cancelled, where's the backup plan? And everything in Iceland is just based on the weather. And I think you always need a backup plan for that. London has got the reputation because, you know, if that thing fails, you can go next door and you've got an equally good experience. And I'm not saying London's great. I mean, every place has its downfalls. But, yeah, I just didn't get that good feeling. And I just couldn't understand why everyone was raving so much on the internet about going to Iceland. I guess I just had a bad trip. And I'm more than happy to go back and try it again. But I just didn't get the feeling about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back. For me, I wouldn't go back. Like, I've done the Blue Lagoon, and you probably know, like, I'm not a travel person. I want to go to India because I want to experience that. But like, for me, like, the Blue Lagoon, I wanted to see because so many people have been there. It's like, oh, it's amazing. But I would never go just to see a mountain. Like, for me, I'd be like, no. But I'm gutted I didn't do the nightlife, because when we were walking at 3 a.m. back to the airport, we didn't walk the whole way, but, you know, got the bus. I heard, like, this DJ was playing, and it was like, I think he played like 2 tracks. And I loved it. Like, I could hear it, and there was like loads of drunk people and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'd have loved to do a night out. But again, as you said, like, if you're with people, with me, when I'm by myself, no, but when I'm with people, I just get smashed. So I just talk to anyone or whoever.
Oh yeah,
but it's so difficult. Like, if you're in a different country and you're not drinking, you know, you're getting smashed. If you're not gelling, like, it's a worse experience. Like, I've had it like 4 or 5 times where I've been out and I've just been like, I cannot smile. Like, I cannot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So to do that in a country where you think is going to be amazing, and for me, I don't know for you, but I upped Iceland straight away. I was like, this is going to be unreal. If I hadn't, and I'd have gone in it, like, Amsterdam, I went into Amsterdam, like, oh, what's this going to be like? And I loved it. And I did, like, the Anne, and what's her name?
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. I did that sort of thing. But with Iceland, I bigged it up so much that even when the shower stunk of egg, I was like, oh, it's ruined the trip.
Yeah.
It's ruined it.
You're literally taking the words out of Nick's mouth.
Yeah, this trip in particular, for some reason, I was looking forward to Iceland so much. I just heard so many amazing things. Last year, 2016, social media, Iceland was everywhere. So I was looking forward to so much. I built it up and I was disappointed. But it's taught me, and for anyone else, one of my top bits of advice is book a trip. Yeah, look forward to it, but don't go in with any expectations. No. Just think whatever happens, happens. Let's enjoy it.
So one of the things I found really interesting when we went on our walking tour was the way that they structure their surnames. So you know how we take our family name. Mm-hmm. So mine's Lee, Nick's is Thompson's, yours Lovelock, right? So you take it from your parent, well, from your dad, because your mum takes it when they get married.
Yeah.
But this is how they structure theirs.
You take the first name of your father, traditionally, and you add son to the end if you're a boy, or dóttir or daughter if you're a girl. So my name is Eyvindur Karlsson, because my father's first name is Karl, or Carl. His father's first name is Úlfur, so he's Karl Úlfsson. His father's first name was Ragnar, so he's Úlfur Ragnarsson, and so on. And if I was a girl, I would be Karlsdóttir. My sisters are Karlsdóttir. Simple. What's your first name?
Nick.
Nick, and your father's?
Mark.
Mark, so Nick Markson. It's not how you all know how to do this. You can create your own Viking names now. So well done. You can now do that. You may be thinking, well, isn't this complicated? It is, to a certain extent. The phone book is pretty complicated. If you want to, it's arranged by first names. And if you want to find somebody in the phone book, you have to know their name. You have to know their father's name. You have to know their occupation, their address, and their phone number. And that's why we don't actually have a phone book anymore. Stop doing that. And you may be wondering, well, if you don't have family names, how do you know if you're related? Well, there is an app for that. So you can go online, you can look up somebody, you can put in your name and someone else's name, and you can see how far back you're related. In Iceland, there is no such thing as not being related. We're all related. It's just a question of how far back you go. The cutoff point is 10 times removed. If you go any further back than that, you're not Icelandic. And there's also a mobile app. So if you're at a bar and you meet somebody, you can go, are we cousins? No, we're not. Let's go. It's important. Very important. You have to know.
So yeah, I thought that was one of the things that was interesting about Icelandic culture. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like, it's weird because even hearing that, I think if you are from Iceland, you will stick to that tradition. Like, for me, like, if I get married, I'm keeping my surname. I'm keeping Lovelock. I don't care what the guy's surname is. I'm keeping my surname. And if he doesn't like it, well, you're not putting a ring on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. You know, he can keep his, but I think in the UK, the tradition is like you can do whatever, double barrel it, keep the females, keep the males. But with Iceland, just even hearing the description, it's very traditional. Like I don't think you'd hear someone go, "I'm not going to do that."
I know what you mean. Yeah, I think you mean so for every Icelander, like a young kid, it would never cross their mind to not carry on that tradition.
That's what
so when
I feel.
they, when they have a kid, no question, their surname would be the dad and then son on the end. So the tour guide that we heard talking just then, he was from Reykjavik Free Walking Tours. You can find him on TripAdvisor. And like we said, the tour itself, we might not have been too bothered about, but he was a very good tour guide. So definitely look them up. I think they're the guys that wear the green coats or green umbrellas or something like that. So we would recommend them.
I would recommend them. I know what I said before, but in terms of what you see, it's not like other tours where they take you to the palace of where the king and queen live and all this amazing stuff. But in terms of the knowledge that he gave us, it was amazing. Learning things like the surnames and the way that with their history, it was really, really interesting. And did you see the famous hot dog stand?
No.
It's hard to find because it's literally just a stand in the corner of Reykjavik, but it's been going there for like 4 generations of a family, and it's amazing. And like it's a place where everybody says eat, and mainly because it's the cheapest place to eat. Talking of food, just quickly, so when we say things are expensive, just to give you a rough guide, so one morning we had to grab breakfast really quickly to get to our tour. So while Nick was getting ready, I run and got some sandwiches. So I got a sandwich for me, like a toasty ham and cheese, and then he wanted a baguette and a tea, right? And that came to £40. So that's like, what, 5 times what I would pay in England for breakfast?
Oh, my God.
Like, or what I would pay for that, like maybe a £5-6 normally, but it came to £40.
Crazy, because things like your ham, bacon or whatever, I'm assuming they have to like import it in. So it costs a lot of money. Yeah, so if you're there for a short space of time, your money quickly goes.
And like, I don't want to bash the country because I would recommend everyone going. I'm in the minority here that I didn't have like a great time. But it was because we had a bad trip, and it's just one of those trips, and I take it on the chin, happy to go again, like I said. But you need to know these things before you go, because 40 quid for breakfast, I mean, we didn't really eat when we was there because it was that expensive.
Yeah, we're same. We actually went the last meal. We would go for a real nice meal, and the night of the Blue Lagoon, we were like, let's just go Subway. And like a foot long, we'd say is 3 quid, and me and my mate shared a foot long and a drink cost 16 quid.
Wow.
And you know when you're not expecting it, like people go, it's expensive. I thought, okay, maybe like 9 quid, and you're like 16 quid. Straight away, you were like, oh my gosh. And then I realised we couldn't drink the water because it stunk of egg. Like, I'm gonna be sick. Like, I'll be more dehydrated if I drank the thing, because I'd be sick. Do you know what I mean? We went to this burger joint, Chuck Norris, something Chuck.
Is that what we went to?
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, and we went there because it was 12 quid a burger, and we were like, right, okay, that's the one place that's like a normal amount. But it was just, even the water and stuff, and Doritos were like 5 quid, and it was just, you were extortionate. But when I went on the tour, actually, I think it's with like that for some Icelandic people, because I did fall asleep a lot of the tour, but I did wake up, and I had some so like interesting facts. And the one thing they said was there's not hardly any single parents, and the reason is because it's so expensive to have a child. Which I found really interesting. Like, there's a percentage, it's a lot lower than any country in the world, I think. Don't quote me, but it's because it's so expensive to bring up a child. And in fact, family members get families to send over clothing because it's so expensive in Iceland. I would never call up, I wouldn't call up France, but I wouldn't go, if you're going to France, can you send my kid clothes? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to really have to go, wow, this is so expensive. And the woman was like, yeah, it's really difficult, and we get like secondhand clothes being brought in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So whether
that is really interesting. And knowing a country like that, you would think there'd be endless amounts of homeless people on the streets because they can't afford to live. But actually, in the whole time I was there in Reykjavik, I remember him quite vividly, I saw one homeless man. And he was in a pretty bad state, to be fair. He was sort of shouting at a load of people and the police came. But yeah, I only saw one homeless person. You'd expect more with stats like that.
Yeah, I didn't see any homeless people.
Okay, so rounding it off, we need to rate it out of 10.
So on our last night in Iceland, I thought, let's get a recording while we're there, while it's all fresh. So I asked Amy, basically, what she thought of Iceland.
Shit.
You really think it's, like, really shit?
We all know how we feel about Australia. I'd rather be in Australia right now.
Why do you think it's so shit?
There's nothing to do. Like, I'm so bored, and this is, like, our second day here. And I'm so bored, there's nothing to do.
But, like, what do you mean? Like, in the city or out in the countryside? Like, there's loads of outdoor activities to do.
Yeah, but they're cancelled. Everything, like, we were meant to do 4 tours. I think we ended up doing 1 because they were cancelled. Everything's just based on the weather, and you can't do that. You have to have a backup plan. And there's just no backup plan. Even locals have been saying that this country isn't ready for tourists. There's nothing to do.
What about Icelandic food? What's your experience been?
You tell me what it is and I'll eat it.
So you've no idea?
No, because they don't have a food. If you say, what's Icelandic, the fucking receptionist was mouthing off to us. There's no fucking Icelandic food. What are you talking about? This is impossible. Fuck off then.
So nothing good at all about Iceland?
To sum it up in one word, boring. I mean, I just suggested doing heroin to pass the time.
Wow. Okay. Well, that can be your review of Iceland done.
Okay, so as that was playing, you mouthed to me. Were you drunk?
Yeah.
Don't I sound drunk? I don't know. I was in such a mood and I was just slurring all of my words.
Yeah.
I think it's because you were cold, because that happens when you're cold, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you're cold, you sort of go like a slow high, I call it. Yeah. So you're like delirious, but you're like, ugh.
Exactly, that's what it was.
This is going to be fun. Rate Iceland out of 10.
Okay, I know I'm being harsh on it, and like since I've come home, I've calmed myself down, and I do think if you've got every condition right, your flight goes right, or you get to do all the tours, you get to see the Northern Lights, and it all goes well, I reckon it's incredible. If you go hiking and that's your thing, I reckon it's incredible. But I can only base this on my time there, and I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to go for a 1 out of 10.
What?
1.
A 1.
Is that just because of the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah, that's my 1 point. I can't think of anything else. Like, the tours were unorganised for me. Yeah, they didn't go ahead. I didn't get to see what I wanted. The flight companies, and I know the flight company is not their fault, but it's an Icelandic company.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not just the airline. Icelandic airlines are renowned for being really bad, and they're always delayed flights. So I'm sorry, I've got to go for a 1.
Okay, well, I'll give you the last word, Becky. So, yeah, I thought it was better than what Amy thought of the country. I was still let down. We spoke about how I had high expectations. So, yeah, manage expectations. That's a lesson I've learnt. But I'm going to go for 5 out of 10 because I thought I did quite like the charm of Reykjavik, a small town, and it was quite a peculiar place, different from what I'm used to. Blue Lagoon was brilliant. We rushed the Golden Circle tour, didn't think much of it, although I did like the geysers. But what I'd say, my recommendation to people is, it's tempting to go in winter because you want to see the Northern Lights. You don't see them much. There's a guy in a hostel, I remember he was saying that he reckons the Northern Lights, they're just a big con. Like, yeah, they do exist, but they're never going to be like what you see in pictures because there is slow, what's it called, slow lenses? No. When you take a picture and you slow it down to get all the light, what's it called, Amy?
Aperture?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Shutter speed.
Yeah, that's it. When you have a slow shutter speed, you can get all the light. So I think when you see them in the flesh, I'm sure it's still amazing, but I don't think it's as good as you think it's going to be in pictures. But my advice is go in the summer when the weather's going to be nice and get out of Reykjavik. Go and explore much of the countryside as you can. I think there's some really cool things to see, but we didn't get the chance to, really. So it's an interesting place. I would like to go back. Actually, I really would, to see more of the island. But that's what I think. 5 out of 10. I'm
going to go for Iceland, I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 because I was very fortunate. The flights weren't delayed. We went to the Blue Lagoon. It was a real cool place. I loved it. The only downfall was the woman talking on the bus, which I shouldn't really take as a downfall. Like, she gave me loads of facts. And the egg tap, that dropped it so many points, and the expensive food. But apart from that, as I said, I'd go there as a spa weekend, but you wouldn't see me there anywhere else, really.
Okay, good to know. Right, so that was Iceland. We will see you next month for another episode. Halfway through this, we've got a mini episode which will be about happiness and can travel make us happy. We're going to be talking to a woman called Tracy, who is amazing and the most chilled out, amazing person ever. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next month.
Bye. See you later, motherfuckers.
Mic drop.
It's motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, see you later, motherfuckers. Done. Romeo, done.
Don't forget, you guys can get in touch with the show. You can send us an email. Our address is whatthefaux@gmail.com. Faux is spelled PHO. On Twitter, we are @FauxPodcast. Also, check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well. With all this social media, this podcast doesn't just come in your ears, we also come in your eyes. Lads.